Hey y'all, thanks for joining in this week. It's currently negative temperatures in Cincinnati, so we'll be doing a little bit of work in the garage, aka my living room, while it's so cold outside. Now, what I've got next to me was what looks like a standard 1980s Honda motorcycle. In reality, this motorcycle represents a huge middle finger to not only Harley Davidson, but also the 40th president of the United States, Ronald Reagan. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. Now, I bought this motorcycle over the summer for $250, and I have not touched it since then. It needs a little bit of everything. It needs 2 brand new tires. It needs turn signals. It looks like almost nothing on this motorcycle is going to work. But let's go ahead and get this thing started and see what we can do with it. And if you have any ideas for what you think that we should do with this particular motorcycle, drop a comment down below because I'm kind of clueless of exactly what I want to do with this. Now this tank is absolutely destroyed on the inside. I don't want to deal with this today. Maybe we'll do a video a little bit later and, teach you guys how to get rust out of the inside of a motorcycle tank, but I don't really want to touch this today. I don't see that there's any holes or anything in it, so I don't think it's going to leak, but it is just absolutely filled up with gunk. One thing that I do like about all these old motorcycles is they've got little compartments just to stick stuff. You know, your sunglasses, wallet, any documents that you might have. So let's go ahead. Let's see if we can get this thing open. Yes. How? Okay, that was easier than I expected. Got an old set of gloves. It's not really going to do a whole lot for us here. Ooh. We got some documents here. Let's see if we can find something that can give us the age. Okay. Oh, insurance documents. That's perfect. So, I don't know. There you go. So, you can read it right there. September 5th, 2002. We're going to go with 21, 22 years since the last time that this was on the road. Insurance binders are good for about 12 months. So, I think that the last time that this was on the road was in 2003. So, we're going to roll with that number. I did find another little storage location on the side here, and hopefully what we get is a little toolkit and some other little goodies. So it looks like you got pieces to a tire kit, tire plug patch kit. More pieces to a tire plug patch kit. And so spark plugs. Let's check out and see if these are new. Hopefully these are new. That will be great. That'll be a big bonus for us since I don't have any parts to this thing. Oh, okay, great. Those spark plugs are not used. So we'll be able to put some fresh plugs in this. Oh, wow, this is great. Okay, so one thing that's awesome about these older motorcycles, specifically Hondas and BMWs, is that they have little toolkits in them. So this is going to be a big help to us because a lot of times they've got some real specific parts and real specific tools that are needed for those. Oh, it's even got pliers in it. I'm just going to spill everything everywhere. But yeah, that's neat. Kind of loose, but whatever. It is rare to get a pair of pliers in a toolkit. And it looks like someone has encountered a very specific problem on this bike because this is already ground down for, a specific angle that they needed because the stock one was too long. So that's cool. That's really great. That's going to help us out a ton. Let's take a look at the oil here. Okay, we got a little bit of oil in here. Sure, it's not great. It still smells decent. I'm sure there's a little bit of water in there because it's been sitting for, 20 plus years. But it should be good enough to get it to fire up at least once. And here's the big thing that you can see on this motorcycle that sets it apart. Very rarely will you find a cruiser type motorcycle that has a V4 engine. And what I mean by that is that there are 2 cylinders up here and there are 2 cylinders up here. And it connects to the crank here and here. So it makes a perfect V in the middle. And that's what gives this bike so much power. Typically a V4 motorcycle will make more power than a inline 4 motorcycle, and that's specifically designed this way so that they could get as much power out of a 700cc engine as they possibly could. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some oil down in these cylinders and get it soaking before we go through and do the carburetors. Because this thing has not been ran in an extremely long time. So we really want to get some oil down in those cylinders to bump that compression up a little bit before we try and fire this engine off. All right, so I went ahead and pulled these spark plugs out. And most of them don't look too bad, but the very front left one has a little bit of rust on it. So we're definitely going to replace these with the other set that we found. But let's go ahead, let's get some oil circulating in these cylinders and just get her soaking. One tip that I'll leave y'all with here is you can buy these syringes without needles in them off of Amazon, and these really help getting the oil into these hard to reach cylinders. What? I can already tell that these carbs are going to be a pain to get out because this is actually the thermostat housing, and that is mounted to the air box. So I don't know if we're going to have to pull the entire cooling system out in order to get to the air box. But let's see what we can do. Here's one thing that's even more perplexing and more confusing is that this radiator hose just goes into the frame, which is extremely weird. I've never actually seen that before, but yeah, the Japanese do some interesting stuff sometimes. So I finally got these carburetors out, and man, let me tell you, it was a huge pain in the ass to get these out. They are absolutely buried in there. I had to drain part of the cooling system to get them out. And yeah, I probably spent about an hour and a half, and it just absolutely sucked the whole time. But we've got them out. We got the oil simmering in the cylinders. So let's go ahead. Let's tear these apart and see what we're in for. All right, so here we are. I have these carburetors out. Took for absolutely ever. Ruined the carb boots that were on it. They're just old and crappy and absolutely rock hard. They've probably never been changed. So I got a new set of those coming. But let's go ahead. Let's hop into here and start tearing these carbs down. I watched a guide on how to do this, and they completely tore everything down, including taking this plenum off. I am not going to do that, and I don't really think that it's necessary. But of course, it may come back to bite me in the end. Now, to build on what we were talking about earlier, this motorcycle was part of a group of motorcycles in the 1980s called Tariff Busters. And what that means is that Harley Davidson was getting the absolute brakes beat off of them in the 80s by, Honda or pretty much any other major motorcycle company was just absolutely beating the crap out of them because Harley was the only American-made motorcycle in the United States. They were all imports. And Harley Davidson was just getting the absolute crap kicked out of them for years. And they asked in 1983 for Ronald Reagan to step in and impose a tariff. And those tariffs were up to 45% of the MSRP of the motorcycle that was getting sold, which is pretty substantial. I mean, you're talking about raising the price of a motorcycle, 45%, which is astronomical, especially in the 80s. Ooh, that is pretty gunked up. I'm glad I decided to pull these apart. But yeah, they were pretty much just getting the absolute brakes beat out of them. So much so that they asked the government to intervene. Look at that. That's horrific. That is like look at that. That is like peanut butter in there, which is fantastic. They were getting beat so bad that they asked the president to intervene, and he imposed a tariff on foreign motorcycle sales for, up to 45%, depending on the type of motorcycle that was being sold. But there was a loophole. And that loophole was that it only counted towards motorcycles that were above 700cc. So 701cc and above got a tariff. Everything underneath of it was fine. Because Harleys are typically larger motorcycles. They're usually, 1,000, 1,200 cc's. Especially back then, they were very high displacement engines for motorcycles. And so he imposed this tariff, and Honda didn't really take that laying down. They decided that they were going to build a motorcycle specifically to combat the tariffs. So what they did is they built, among a couple of other bikes, but mainly this one, they built bikes that were smaller than 700cc, but were, really pumping out the power. And in 1985, when this motorcycle was released, it made a whopping 86 horsepower, which isn't, that's not big numbers by today's measurements, but that is huge numbers back then. Oh, wow, this is disgusting. There's some kind of white goop. So yeah, it was basically, they designed this engine and motorcycle just to combat those tariffs, and they were, pretty successful. Oh wow, there is some kind of crust that's like stuck. Man, it doesn't seem like it's rust. Look at that. That's gross. And it's like flat crust. I don't understand what the heck's going on there, but yeah, that is some serious corrosion. Hopefully we don't need any parts, but I could see it happening considering how messed up these are. But they built these motorcycles, and they were pretty successful. But yeah, in 1985 time, 86 horsepower over 700cc engine is crazy, and they built them just for these tariffs. And you can go back in history and kind of see if this was particularly effective, which I believe it was. But in 1987, Harley Davidson said, "Hey, we had enough. We feel like we can compete now on the open motorcycle market, so you can take this tariff out." And so it really only lasted about 4, 5, 6 years. Wasn't there for very long, but I don't know that it made that much impact because companies just start building motorcycles to go around the tariff unless it's a blanket tariff, which you don't really see a whole lot of. Well, it might happen here in the next couple of days, but who knows? But yeah, and I kind of blame Harley Davidson a lot for this because they were selling terrible. That doesn't even have a smell to it. That's how old that gas is. They were building terrible motorcycles back then. if the stories are true, you'd walk into a motorcycle dealership in the 80s, and the motorcycles, absolutely brand new on the showroom floor, were leaking oil. And they had to put pans underneath of them to capture the oil, or they'd have to store them without any oil in them whatsoever, which is crazy. Imagine going into any motorcycle dealership or any dealership for anything, and there's oil leaking on day one. Before you even pull the trigger and buy the thing, it's leaking oil, which is ridiculous. It's completely crazy. So if there's sales tank, that's really on them, in my opinion. So I think most people would tend to agree. All right, y'all. So here's where I'm at with this. I accidentally broke part of this carburetor whenever I was prying on it to get it out of the frame. So I'm going to have to make a plan for this, and these carbs are just too far gone to not go through and have a rebuild kit to get this sorted out. So I'm going to have to make a plan for this, how I'm going to fix this, and I'm also going to need a carb kit because these are just absolutely destroyed. I tried to clean out some of the jets, but I broke off the, it's a little cleaner thingy inside of the jet. I even tried to use a blowtorch, get it red hot, and it still was not clearing out. So I went ahead and ordered some parts, should have those in here in the next couple of days, but I wanted to make sure that this video got uploaded by Sunday, and next Sunday I will have part 2 for this. So we're going to have to do this one in a 2-parter, which I don't like to do, but I wanted to get this one up and out to you guys as quickly as I could.